been raining all damn day. Banks all closed just as soon as I go cast my pay. Talk's been going.
Hello, Pickathon universe. Welcome to the Pickathon Podcast, episode 37 here. Today we're going to be talking to Jake Kohn, who is an amazing musician from my neck of the woods, kind of. I don't know how much we've talked about, like, growing up in the South-ish area. People, like, think of my hometown, which is up by Cincinnati in northern Kentucky, as not the South, but I have to say it really is the South. There's, like, this whole, like, influence when you get up towards Cincinnati, where there is northern Kentucky meets, like, Indiana and Ohio. You kind of have Northeast meets... meets the South, meets the Midwest. So it's kind of like all of that fun stuff.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of that goes into Winchester too. People talk about Winchester like it's northern just because it's so close to DC. You know what I mean? But it's an entirely different landscape. You know.
Yeah. How close to DC are you?
About 2 hours.
I was actually born in DC, and my parents, we had a cabin in the Bull Run Mountains. Do you know where that is?
Mm-hmm.
By Middlesburg.
Yeah.
Actually, my dad and mom grew up in Montana, and they somehow ended up in DC when I was born there.
Yeah.
And a bunch of their friends found, like, there's this, or if folks don't know this area, it's kind of surrounded by horse farms. Like where I went to school in Lexington, it's the other horse farm area. And it's also insanely old school money. Like the most old school colonial money probably is there. But tucked in the mountains up in that Bull Run were people without water, without electricity. I mean, they were pumping wells, and some of them had electricity kind of a little bit, but my dad and his friends had befriended a guy that was still living in a Civil War cabin.
Wow.
And his name's Leo, and they bought this 20 acres and helped him build like a cinder blocks home to like a proper home. Like they joined in, and it was like that property is now surrounded by the Nature Conservancy, and in the middle of the Bull Run Mountains. It's like the only thing there.
Yeah.
It's super rad.
That's awesome.
Man, it's so beautiful there. It's so beautiful.
I can imagine. I bet it is.
Yeah, so for me, music was everywhere. Even in Cincinnati, like, I feel like my dad kind of like, and I'm wondering what it's like for you. Like, I grew up, my dad was super into bluegrass.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was drug around to every single bluegrass. And I wasn't so sure about it when I was like a teenager.
Yeah, I actually started pretty much playing bluegrass, honestly.
Did you really?
Yeah, my first show, I tell everybody this. At my first show, I met this guy that I consider him my mentor, and he's this phenomenal bluegrass player from just across the West Virginia line, and I was playing bluegrass, all the bluegrass shows, learning bluegrass songs for probably the first 2 years, 2 or 3, honestly. Not only, but it was a heavy influence just at the start. Yeah.
What was his name? Who was your mentor?
Buddy Dunlap. Yeah.
Buddy Dunlap.
Mm-hmm.
Was he in a band that I?
Yeah. He's in a bluegrass band called Bud's Collective.
Okay.
They're great. I think he's gonna be playing some dobro for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that's cool.
At Pickathon?
I don't know about at Pickathon, but in the future.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you just grew up around a musical family, right?
No, not at all. Nobody in my family plays music.
How did things happen?
My great grandmother is the only other person that had access to anything music. Okay. Really. I would think that we know of course, and she gave me her guitar when I was like 10-ish, I think. And I learned to play on that by myself at first.
That's pretty awesome. Did you learn some classics like Old Joe Clark or Salt Creek?
I don't remember what the first songs that I learned were, but they were probably just, I don't know, old country songs, because that's all that I would listen to at that time. you know.
That's awesome. It's so you didn't really have like, was your dad like and mom listening to old country stuff too?
My dad heavily. My mom listens to it too, but my dad would always play it. Yeah, that's where I learned. I basically took I took my dad's kind of country music influence, and when I was little, I would always just listen to that and think it was like the coolest thing ever, you know, and
That's so
just
awesome.
try to like. I was always like, just I was a nerd about it. Like, you know, you see a kid that's like doing really good in school or doing something good, doing good at something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was just obsessed with country music. It was weird. It was a really weird thing for me to be doing, but I did it and I liked it.
Was it weird like in school, like other people were into pop music or
Yeah, yeah.
it's yeah, that's the kind of like my arc was like I kind of I listened to it, but I really came back to it after college,
Hmm.
and so it's super cool. Like you, it's stuck. I mean, it's kind of cool now though, right? It's actually
Oh yeah,
changed a little bit. Things
definitely.
have
Yeah.
changed.
Hmm.
I mean, you're a junior, right, in high school, or are you a senior?
Technically, I'm a junior. I should be in 11th grade, but
Are you in school right now?
I don't. I'm not.
You're not. Okay.
No, I graduated.
Oh, cool. You graduated early.
Mhm.
That's awesome. But you would be, your friends are, some of them are in like
Oh,
school right
all
now.
of
Like
them.
you're
Anybody that is my friend is in school right now. Yeah, other than musicians.
right on. My daughter actually is 17 and is junior here in Portland.
That's cool.
So it's kind of wild. Like, did you have any other friends like playing music with you?
I've had a lot of friends that played music, but nobody was like as into it, you know. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I don't like saying that about myself, but like I was like obsessed over this, you know.
Oh yeah.
I was just all out over music, yeah.
Was that like from the very beginning, or was there like a, just like right when you started playing?
Yeah, from the time that I started playing,
That's awesome. And were you singing from the very beginning?
I was singing before I could play, really, but just like, you know, as a garbage, as a child that could not sing.
It's super cool, like, because I mean, I think if people close their eyes and hear you sing, they would have no idea that are you still 16? When's your birthday coming up?
I'm still 16. I turned 17 May 9th.
Oh shoot, right around the corner.
Yep.
Nice. That's, I mean, it's that's really just wild to have the voice you have. It's kind of booming, gravelly voice. I mean, did anybody else sing like that around you? Like who did?
No, I didn't really like choose my voice, you know. It was way higher pitched when I started, obviously.
Oh yeah.
It kind of just it got lower and I figured out that I could have more vocal control when I sang in that lower register.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
honestly, everybody and a lot of people talk about like me forcing vocals and like that's a thing that I see a lot, and it always makes me laugh. Like I have to force to sound like I'm 16 when I
Yeah,
sing because I don't have the control to sing in like a normal tone.
I get it.
I don't know. It's weird.
My son, who plays fiddle, he's 19, and Silas just he also sings lower because it's comfortable. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I like when I learned in mandolin, like in my 20s in North Carolina, like I wasn't the lead singer, so I had to learn tenor. You know, like
Oh
I
yeah.
just to kind of like be in the mix there. But
Hmm.
eventually, and now I'm more like normal tone. But did you ever sing in a different register? Did you start like in a?
I started in a different register. Yeah,
Oh, really?
definitely. There's videos on Facebook if you scroll back far enough of my mother recording me singing terribly.
That's yeah. No, it's like it's kind of wild how you come into your own voice. What type of guitar did your grandma give you? What was that? What is that
It's
guitar?
not like a name. It's I don't even know what it is. It's old.
Some hand
Yeah.
built weird guitar?
I don't think it's hand built, but it's just a weird brand. I've never
Okay.
seen it before. I don't know what it is. I don't even. It's in a closet.
You don't play it anymore.
Well, it's not exactly like the best like playing guitar.
Right. Yeah. I mean, what kind of guitar are you playing right now?
I stick with Taylor's most of the time.
Mm-hmm. He's from out there, right?
I believe so. Yeah, I've had this here. I've got it right here. I've had this guitar. This has been like my main guitar. Um, but yeah, I usually use Taylor's.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
I have like gone through many mandolins over my time, but like I'm sure there are like some makers of guitars Like I got really lucky, and there's this amazing mandolin maker named Michael Hayden
Mhm.
out here in Vancouver, BC, or just north of the border in Canada.
Yeah.
I got one of his last like handmade A model mandolins, and they're now super collectors. And
Yeah.
I'm just guessing that folks are coming to you. Hey, do you want a guitar? Right? Are you getting
I wish.
really? You should. You could totally do it, dude. I think you could just like
I
get yourself
mean,
a.
I've never really, and I feel like if somebody did like message me and say that, I'd just feel bad about it because I just feel bad. Like I don't know. It's weird to me because I play guitar. I've bought the guitars that I've played. You know what I mean? It's weird.
Yeah, to be gifted.
I've never been gifted something that expensive. That's scary.
That's scary,
That scares
but
me.
it helps them, like
Yeah.
I think that especially if they're an up and coming and you just kind of thing, and I don't know, it's bound to happen if folks have not already asked you like, hey, you want to play one of my guitars? I'm sure that's coming.
Yeah.
So were we starting when you were like 10, you get a guitar. When did you actually like write your first song?
I don't remember when I wrote my first song because when I started playing guitar, I instantly just started writing because um, when I was young, another thing that I was obsessed with was writing. Uh,
Really?
yeah, I've been writing since I was in like first grade.
Tell me about it. Like what? Like what?
I was writing like stories and stuff at that point.
Which is huge, right, in the songwriting process.
I think it helped me a lot.
Like what kind of stories were they like?
All kinds of just stuff I made up. Like I was trying to write like at points I had like chapter books going. Like I was writing chapters.
And were you like putting those out or something? Like letting your friends
I
read
wasn't
them?
putting them out. I was nah.
Showing them your family and stuff?
Yeah.
That's cool. Did you ever like keeping that going from like your whole, are you still writing? Do you like to write now?
I haven't written a story in a while, but it'd be fun to do.
Yeah.
But it hasn't been long since I've like written. I write like you know I turn poetry into songs and stuff. Things that
Hmm.
I've written that are just not songs yet.
That's like a good, yeah, it's a totally amazing process there to like, poetry is kind of the same structure as songs, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, and is that how you typically, you're still writing? You writing like first like the lyrics and then the song, or do you?
I don't really have I've never had a way that like I just sit down and write in any like specific circumstance. It's random. A lot of the times now though, I'll write the melodies first because it helps me expand on the lyrics more and have a differentiation between other songs that I've written already.
Yeah, I've always kind of been a melody, and I don't know. That's just the way my brain has always worked. It's like I hear kind of like the feeling of the song, and then it's just like, okay, this is what this feeling kind of matches for me, like lyrically. Like I don't know, like,
Yeah, I understand that.
but it's so different. Like you feeling like when did you do your first gig then? So you were
I was 11.
10.
I was 11.
Oh God, that's so crazy. That's awesome. Where?
Across the street at a fruit market.
Oh yeah,
It was a big festival.
was it?
Yeah, they do festivals all the time at Richard's Fruit Market here in Stevens City.
So what was the name of the festival?
It was the Peach Festival that they do every summer. Yeah, that was the first show I played. I played in between the breaks of Bud's Collective. That's how I met Buddy.
Oh wow, how scared were you? Was it like?
I mean, he come up to me. I was scared, but I was excited. I don't know. Basically, though, that was the first show that I'd played, and that was crazy. It was crazy. I still remember that.
I mean, music is. I mean, people don't realize if they're not from there, but there's so much music from there. Like music's being played,
Yeah,
like the jams, the character of all up and down Virginia and parts of Kentucky and
yeah,
West Virginia. Like there's just music is just everywhere.
yeah. Winchester's music scene has really ramped up. I remember coming into it, and it was about like 2019, 20 through 2021 when I was first starting to come into like the socialization part, talking to other people that are local and doing the same thing, and obviously like getting local notice and meeting people. I remember coming into it, and there was just like this. There was this feeling that you could tell that just there was this resurgence coming out of Winchester, and it definitely happened. Like I'm wearing Zach Townsend's shirt right now from
Oh yeah.
Winchester. We got Brennan Edwards, Chris Hunt Jr. We've got a bunch of cool people here.
Oh yeah. So Brennan Edwards, I've actually recognized too because he's from there too.
Yeah,
And Chris Jacobs,
Chris Hunt Jr.
Chris Hunt Jr.
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Those are three people that are just excellent. Yep.
I did, because I think I saw a video, which actually I'm super curious about, like West Virginia radio, right?
Yeah.
Didn't Brennan actually he did a video with somebody else. It's like a really cool.
Chris Hunt Jr. That's Chris Hunt Jr.
Yeah, they're incredible,
Yeah.
and they're all from Winchester, huh?
Yeah. All three of us are. Yeah.
I love it, man. It's just, I mean, so tell me, who runs Radio West Virginia? What's the story there?
Radio West Virginia. We shouldn't get into that publicly.
No?
No, it's a
Okay.
very dramatic thing that I do not want to take part in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It happened. And
I'll tell you about it after.
Okay. Okay. But it's not good then. It's not
No.
good. Okay. It's interesting though, because it's culturally there was a lot of things that just happened there.
Yeah.
And what I kind of what I took up from seeing there's that kind of just the nucleus of the intensity of like of those local musicians, and it just kind of made me think that as the more I dug there, I haven't really seen a lot of like incredible, so much density of incredible musicians coming out of like Virginia, West Virginia. I've always thought of North Carolina and kind of around Chapel Hill and Asheville as like
Absolutely.
just cranking out music.
Always.
We always have somehow at the festival. We ended up with a billion bands, and they don't ever sound quite like anyone else. They're always kind of bringing things together.
Yeah.
Whether it's rock or country, and yeah, there's this incredible bands from that area, Fust and Sluice, and
Those are great names. Love that.
I know, but it's this kind of weird alt country sound that is the best way I can say it. It's like, and I love this about kind of like it's been a while since I really think of alt country, alt country. I call it when people are. They've listened to. I feel like this is. I don't know if this is exactly true, but I'm. My kind of feeling is like when people aren't officially trained. Like here's the canon. You play it this way. You play it, and you just kind of like you synthesize and play it with your friends, and it comes out.
Yeah.
And it's not quite the same thing as if somebody was just teaching you like this is how you do it, right? And so
you gotta teach yourself, and that's. Sorry, I don't mean. Yeah.
No, go ahead. You tell me.
You got to teach yourself because in music, I feel like that's where the uniqueness comes from. Is just the fact that people perceive things differently, and region, all that goes into it.
Oh yeah, and it's not being constrained. Like it's almost like creating it yourself. So like it's like a happy accident when it's because it's slightly off of everything else that people are doing. And I definitely hear that in your approach, like you're synthesizing music that you've loved, but
Definitely.
it's coming out in a really original way.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's super cool, and I'm stoked because I think it's part of a larger. Do you know Logan Hallstad? Do you know Logan?
Yeah, I know him. He's awesome. Good friend of mine.
Is he pretty close to you there?
He's not close to me at all.
No.
I think he lives. I don't know. I think he's in Kentucky these days. I don't know though.
Great musician.
Definitely, yeah.
A guy named Nat Myers. I don't know if you know Nat Myers.
Another good friend of mine.
Yeah,
love that dude.
He's the one that turned me on to you. Like,
great.
we were chatting last fall in the podcast, and I was like, man, who should I know about? And Nat started naming folks. He named Logan, and he named you, and that kind of led us. I was like, oh man, this is.
Yeah.
I'm like kind of really just stoked of how much like you're coming at the right time too, because there's just so much of that music is becoming popular in a cool
Yeah,
way that hasn't happened in a long time. Like,
you're right. Not that I would know.
not well. It's just like I was always into this stuff. Like even when we did like the festival, we've always had kind of like deep cuts. Like we've always been like, what is the thing that people who love this music scene are into? And so, we've over the years we've had that usually like that kind of like regional thing has turned into cool things. Like Sturgill
Yeah,
was there when he was part of his old band in Lexington, Kentucky called Sunday Valley.
love Sunday really. Yeah,
Oh, you've ever heard of them?
I've heard of them. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean Sturgill is now like he blew up.
yeah. I've got all the bootlegs on my. I've got them hooked onto my Spotify. Yeah, I've
Oh,
had
you
those for
do?
years now. Just
That's
sitting in my Spotify. I'm weird. I told you.
I know, dude. That's not weird. That's just being a music lover,
Maybe. I guess.
right? I mean,
I love music.
I think so. Like there's kind of a never-ending. What's really fun about doing a music festival like this is like we just get to just geek out on what is and a lot of it's regional. Like the music comes from places, right? And it's like there's like a mixture of that musical tradition you're tapping into, but it's like we said, it's kind of always
Yeah,
reinventing itself, and you got to have faith that if it that you really are not trying to like we've always felt really strongly that the music needs to be just kind of awesome and not worry about the draw. Like we don't need to like if it's gonna and draw will take care of itself.
exactly.
Yeah, so it's like it's if you feel love with your with your own music, it's just gonna be it's enough.
Definitely. You're right.
So tell me, like, so we're gonna keep walking through between 12 and 16 here. That's pretty awesome. A lot more stuff kind of happened for you. So you had like how do you feel like you were playing locally and things all of a sudden things changed a little bit? Like what were those events?
I mean, the major change was obviously starting those Radio West Virginia videos rolling out. Those did well, on all platforms, and that was that was definitely like the start of the next level of all of this.
And it like just more gigs happened after that, or like
A
how?
lot, yeah. Everything just kicked off, and from there we got, we collected our team and everything.
Yeah, was it weird? Was
Oh,
it
it was
just
really
feel
weird. I
normal?
mean, I
Like,
don't have a choice. So you just have to do it. It was strange.
yeah,
I've shaken hands with more business people than usual at my age.
yeah, you have. I mean, a lot of folks struggle forever, right? And
You're
like
right.
it's like,
It's so it's incomprehensible to me. Like I never did it like when I was young to like become famous at 16. Like, you know what I mean? Like I wasn't trying to be famous as a child or famous at all. I was just doing it.
mm-hmm.
And I'm not trying to do it for I was never trying to do music for attention. It was just what I did and something that I liked to do. But my mom was like, you should post videos. And I was like, okay. And that's what I started doing. And when Radio West Virginia reached out, we went to Charleston, West Virginia, and we cut 4 videos. I don't remember. We cut videos, but it was a 6-hour
Mm-hmm.
drive. I don't think we'd ever driven that far. It's weird.
And then it just kind of like,
Everything from there was just, I can definitely just specifically remember that was dropping those videos was the turning point. It was wild to see.
how was it just trying to like being a kid, trying to be a kid at the
It's
same
still
time, right?
weird. Uh,
Is
yeah,
it?
but it's just something that I wanted to do, and I'm grateful for the place that I'm in, and I gotta deal with work sometimes. It's just the way it is.
Yeah. But are you still friends with the same people locally and hanging
Yeah,
out? And
mostly. I mean, yeah.
that's cool. I mean, you didn't like move to a big city
No,
or try to like change things up.
no, nope. I still live here, same spot.
Right on. I mean, if you graduated and like, what do you think? Do you have plans? Are you gonna stay? Do you have any idea, or are you just gonna kind of like
We'll see.
what is? Yeah. I mean, as I think you've gotten to play a lot of so like after that Did you get to play how many times have you gotten to play the Grand Ole Opry?
Once. I've played once.
Once?
Yeah.
How was that?
That was crazy. I think that was almost that was a long time ago now. Feels like just the other day, but I think it's been like almost a year. Almost a year. It's coming up on a year because it was last September. It'll be a year soon. But yeah, that was just an amazing time. It was an amazing trip. Everybody in my family came down. My girlfriend came, my brother came, my my dad, both sets of grandparents, aunts, uncles, everybody came. We all just holed up in the same hotel in Nashville. That was one of our first times in Nashville, I believe, if I remember correctly. I think that was
That's
one of our
super
first times
cool.
in Nashville. Maybe the third, but I don't know.
What was it like on
Well,
it was
it was crazy. I thought I was going to be more scared than I was, but I wasn't as scared as I thought I was going to be. So it, it was awesome.
Did you get to meet some the other musicians and meet some connected to some people?
I met some people, yeah.
Who'd you stick with? Who was a connection?
Atlantic Records.
Oh, like a real connection. Like you're
I didn't mean to word it like that. That sounded weird.
no. It's like it's super awesome and like it's like doesn't get to happen to everyone. So don't feel bad, man. It's like a real cool thing.
It worked out weird. It was,
Yeah.
yeah, we signed the deal backstage, and it wasn't like sprung up on me. I saw a lot of articles come out when when it happened, where they were like, Jake Kohn had signed surprise record deal backstage. No, I didn't. It was not surprise. It took a year of study pretty much to analyze, see if it was the correct decision, you know. It was really cool experience.
That happened though, like it culminated then, huh?
Hmm.
I mean, it's just a wild thing to think of. So you're 15 and somebody's like talking about a record deal, right? And you're just like,
Yeah.
and took a year later or something, yeah. I mean, what do you know? Like if it's a good deal or not, right? It's a weird thing to
Yeah,
think of because
it is.
right?
My mom thought that they were scammers when they reached out. She told them that on the phone.
The first time
So, yeah. She was like, I don't think y'all are real. So
they called and they didn't instead of like emailing, huh?
they called. Yeah. Well, they told it was a set up call. Like
Hmm.
we had been talking about it, and I was like, Mom, I know. I know these like names, like these people, these are the real people. They're followed by people I listen to. Like, come on. And so I made her like do the phone call. It was funny. It was really funny.
She still didn't believe it.
She eventually did, but took a minute.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even imagine. Most folks don't get to have that kind of experience even in their later years, right? So
Yeah.
it's just like, what goes into like a decision like that for you? Does it feel nervous? Are you like
I mean,
excited?
it was an exciting decision for sure, and we've been doing pretty well with it. So, yeah, it was a good decision, and I'm happy with it.
Are you thinking of a record? Is there a record coming up?
Maybe.
Maybe. Usually with a record label, there's usually some. There's a
Yeah,
rec.
that's
There's
keyword record label.
Yeah, it's a key word. Because I mean, I've seen three singles, but I'm guessing your songbook is full. I don't even
I
know.
have
Do you?
I have quite a few songs written.
I bet you. Like, if you think you've written what? Have you written 100 songs in your life?
Complete songs, probably, yeah, at least 100 complete good-ish ones that I would consider, but I only play like maybe 20 of them.
How does that work for you? Do you like kind of like workshop them and decide if you like them? And
Yeah, I work on them a lot and try to see if I can make them into something that I like, and usually they're
hmm
not, so I don't play them.
do you like change them and
Yeah,
kind of
all the
like add to
time.
them? And
And I'll come back to them even and just,
hmm
yeah.
do you have friends that you kind of run them by, and or somebody you
No,
trust?
not usually.
You just kind of workshop it.
Yeah.
Do you ever like record them and listen to them and see if they sound like you want them to? Because that always has been a weird
Yeah,
thing
I
for
do that.
me.
I do that a lot.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Is that a big part of it for you too? Like, oh man,
Yeah, it helps.
that's cool. And how often? I mean, when you're playing live, what's your normal kind of like? Do you play solo almost always? Because those
Yeah, almost
singles have
always.
have had a couple musicians on them, I've noticed.
Yeah, I've played mostly solo, but there's band stuff coming for sure. Yeah,
Yeah?
yeah, it's all right. Yeah,
That's awesome. Is that like something you're stoked about, or do you like?
yeah, it's gonna be real fun.
Are they folks that you know? Are
Yep.
they from Nashville, or are they?
Most of them are from my town.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah,
Do I know any of them?
I don't know if I'm probably allowed to talk about it, but
It's your band.
the person playing bass for me is Jimbo Hart.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Are you? Is that band? Is any part of that band coming on tour to Pickathon?
I don't know if we're coming to Pickathon. I think we were booked solo.
Oh man, you should. This is the place where all these bands blew up on the West Coast. Tyler, Sturgill, Margot.
Yeah.
If you can, we should figure it out, because I think if it's something you're into,
Yeah.
it's the way to explode out here.
I would say it seems like a good track record of it, huh?
Oh yeah, Charlie Crockett.
I just saw him.
You did? He's awesome, right?
Biloxi, yep. That was awesome.
We had Billy Strings twice before he actually blew up, you know?
Yeah, I do. I've seen the videos.
Oh, yeah.
I used to watch him on my TV. I remember that. I was watching those Pickathon Billy Strings videos on my TV a couple of years ago.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he had like 10 followers for like the first time.
Yeah.
And then the second time, barely any. And then all of a sudden, boom. Same with like Sturgill. We had him 3 times. It was on that third time. But yeah, I think it'd be super awesome. And I don't know if you know much about, but you should come as long as you can, like from Wednesday to Monday, and just camp or whatever you're doing. We'd love to just we take good care of you. I'm out here. Tons of other musicians.
I have to look at the schedule because everybody always tries to I'm not aware of what I'm doing until I'm there most of the time, man. So I don't know if it's it could be if it's like any of the last runs I've done, it's in the center of 3 weeks worth of shit. So
yeah, well I'm just planting a bug. You could just because I think it would be cool to see.
Absolutely would.
If you're thinking of I think you guys with having some other amazing musicians around you too really add a lot of crazy awesome depth to both your songs. I'm just excited just to hear what you've been brewing. I think it's going to be a really cool thing.
It's going to be.
Do you get to play with them locally there? Do they is that something?
It hasn't been done yet, but I wouldn't really rule it out.
That's awesome, man. Well, we're really looking forward to having you here this year.
I'm really excited to come.
Looking forward to seeing the future, man. So thanks for being on my show here today.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and you got, just take it easy on yourself, because you got a long life ahead, my friend. And just I love the idea, I can tell that keeping it authentic and just keep it real, right? Like that's the be present, and it's a cool thing just to kind of be in the moment, and you just, who knows where all this crazy stuff's going to take you, right?
Yeah.
Just really stoked for you, man. And
thanks.
Thank you for being my guest today. And hey, this is the end of episode 37 with Jake Kohn, and I'd like to be having him later this summer. You're really going to get to see him first time, probably. Is this your first time in Oregon?
Yeah.
There you go. First time in Oregon. It's going to be a big deal, and we'll be talking about him for hopefully many happy years in the future. So see you everyone next week. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the Pickathon Podcast. This podcast is produced by Zale Schoenborn, Tanner McCullough, and Evan Throckmorton. Our artwork is by Travis Bone, and additional support by Ryan Stiles. The music you heard in this episode was by our guest of honor, Jake Kohn. The songs included were Lorraine, and the one we're riding out on right now, his latest single from 2024, Hard as Stone.
Be sure to check out our Pickathon Patreon, where we have exclusive interviews, content, and insights into the Pickathon world. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you hear your podcasts. And tell a friend about where they can get on the Pickathon bandwagon. Thank you to the whole Pickathon family. And like Zale said, we'll catch you all next week.
unending, flowing like blood in my veins. Those hands you once landed, now for another's embrace. You take on another lover to take my place. What did I ever do